Welcome back to Clean for Profit. Guys, we got a bit of a different one today, and I'm really, really excited for it. So, we have in this episode an interview with Dave Scribani, myself, and Dave and I's mutual coach, Nick Cavuoto. I took a trip out to Tennessee this February 2026 to visit Dave, and we recorded a bunch of in-person podcasts while we were there. It was awesome, and we got to know each other. For those who don't know, we met on Facebook. We just met on the internet. Um, Dave was generous enough to have me over for the better part of a week, and on the second to last day, we drove down to Nashville, and we met up with our mutual coach, Nick Cavuoto, and filmed a podcast. It was incredible. The insight that I get every time I talk to Nick is invaluable. And I can truly say that, like, there's a lot of things that I've learned and done to grow the business over the last 6 months or so. But Nick is the reason why I've taken those steps and actions. Like, my why is my family, my wife, my kids, etc. But the why for me, in terms of like why I actually got up and started doing the things that I needed to do to grow my business, is because Nick told me to. So I would have been perfectly comfortable this time 6 months ago still being a solo operator, and honestly I probably would have continued to do that. But because of Nick, we're growing at a pace that is extremely rapid. We're hiring our fourth employee soon. So I wanted to say before anything, we say thank you in this podcast as well. But thank you to Nick and Dave for being such an invaluable support network. Yeah, these guys are there for me, and I hope I'm there for them in some capacity as well. One final note I just wanted to make before hopping into the podcast is that I am not the most technically savvy, and prior to this, I had never done an in-person podcast before. Because of that, we had some technical difficulties. We finished recording the podcast, and I realized that I had the wrong input for one of the microphones, which was very much so embarrassing. Total amateur mistake. You can see me at the beginning of the podcast if you're watching the video podcast, of just like, and throughout the entire podcast, it's like I'm my own producer. So doing an in-person podcast is really stressful and intensive. I need to dial that in way more before I do that again. But anyways, Nick's audio was almost completely botched. Luckily, both of us were recording on our iPhones, and we were able to run the recording through kind of an AI audio polisher, and it came out really, really good, like way better than I was expecting. So I'm really happy that that got saved. But just as a heads up, there will be some kind of artifacts in the audio here and there, especially near the front end. The introduction is a little bit botched, where like it sounds like we're slurring words. That for the most part goes away after the first 3 minutes or so. So my apologies for that. Nick, Dave, I suck. I promise to suck less every single time we do this. But just one last shout out to Dave and Nick, man. Thank you so much, you guys, for being such great friends. I got so much value out of this conversation, and I get value out of every conversation that I have with Nick and Dave. So I am so happy that I'm able to share this podcast with you. So without further ado, welcome Nick Cavuoto and Dave Scribani. Welcome back to Clean for Profit. I am joined shoulder to shoulder today with my buddy Dave.
What's up, guys?
Good to see you all again. And we are joined mutually with the coach that we both have in common, Nick Cavuoto.
What's up? Thanks for coming on, buddy.
Of course, man.
Yeah, thank you guys. It's a lot.
Thank
Thank you for hosting us as well.
Yeah.
Very generous of you. So listen, I mean, I just wanted to make this note right off the bat. I think you and I have been working together for about 2.5 months now, to help, basically, by your own definition, like transform my window blanking business. And it's been something that's been so immediately effective. And you don't have a background in this specific business. But one of the things that kind of alerted me that you would be an excellent, we would be an excellent fit for each other was that in our initial call together, I actually didn't learn a whole lot about you. I would ask you about your background, but I wanted to make a note just right off the bat that like that first call was all about framing where I'm at, where I've been, and where I'm trying to go. Which even if we had ended the relationship right there, would have been so effective. Just that simple reframing. So, anyways, I wanted to thank you just for the few under half of those interactions that we've had so far. And use that as a weird segue to just ask, like, can you give us a minute or two on who you are and what your background is?
Yeah, man, absolutely. So I think, simply growing up, like my mom was in medical school when I was a kid, and my dad was a drug dealer who found Jesus. So he had an eighth grade education, so like there's nothing special about where I came from as to where I've gotten today. It's just real people working hard. And I always look at like what my parents, the sacrifices they made that brought me to where I'm at. Then I'm like, now I'm making those sacrifices for my kids to get into the next level as well. So I think at the end of the day, there's a lot of humility wrapped in a lot of work ethic and strong results, and about somebody else paving the way before me that got me to a good starting point. That I think then I'm taking that starting point and maximizing it to my highest potential that I can. And I expect my kids to do the same thing. But, you know, growing up, athletic was the primary thing. Like I was an athlete, loved doing things that had to do with sports, and competitiveness was at the root of it. But at 19 years old, I fell out of college for the second time and didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. And I think a lot of people can relate to being at that point of where you're like, I've got to make a move, but I don't know what the next move is. And wherever I'm coming from is almost a dead end street. Like this is not going to work. And so I remember calling my dad and saying, what do I need to do? And he said, you need to learn how to serve. And I was like, okay, what the hell does that mean? While at the same time, I knew that I could rely on his wisdom of life to go like, if I'm in transition, I'm in this place of like, where the thing's not working and the next thing hasn't happened yet. He said, you just have to learn how to really essentially put yourself in an environment where you can grow while at the same time, make it not about you. And that's carried with me all the way through my career. Like what I do is for the people that I do it for. And the idea of serving is just placing yourself in a position of where you could be more valuable to the next person. And it's not about extracting value. It's about providing value. And that's a huge thing. And value is just really the combination of really being useful and also, I think, being trustworthy. And so in my life, that's been the primary thing. I was in ministry for 7 years. And then after that, I went into medical startups and worked in a medical startup that was a primary competitor to Invisalign. Did that for 2 years. And then went into corporate, Fortune 500 world, which was awful. I broke all the records of the company, which was cool to be able to say. Well, at the same time, it was just too slow for me. I love the small biz and, working with operators, you can make decisions and stuff like that. And then, after that, built 4 of my own companies and did a lot of cool stuff in the marketing and digital space and generated $600 million as of this year for the clients and the people that I work with. So that's kind of the quick 10 to 15 year history. Well, at the end of the day, man, I think that I'm very diagnostic in my approach, which you saw. I think a problem identified is half solved. And most people just try to solve so many problems. They don't slow down enough to go like, what is the actual issue that we're facing? And I've seen that with my peers who work in similar fields or do similar things that I do. It's do my system, do my process, follow my steps, and implement them. Right. And I'm like, it's just not that simple. You have to identify what the actual issue is. It's kind of like the scientific process, like in many scientific method in a lot of ways. Identify the core problem and create a hypothesis, and then move your way through the process. And that's a lot of what I do. So
ministry to business, was that just like a natural transition to you, or was there an education between those two, or was ministry your education? Like, yeah, I'm kind of like good. Why is blurry between the transition?
It is, yeah. So so I fell out of college for the second time, had $100,000 in student loans, and then I just went to go serve at a church. I've been like with no guarantee, no promise or anything. And then there, I think I made $25,000 a year. So there wasn't really a hope and a stretch on like, how am I going to financially resolve this? Or what am I going to do for school? Like, what's going to be my next step? I just kind of put my feet down where it made sense and just hoped it would never change. I never thought I would leave ministry. Never thought that was part of the plan, but it happened. And I think through that process, I grew a lot. I was held very accountable, as Dave knows. Like we share that background, and my feet were held to the fire. I was held very accountable, and I was also given a lot of permission to either fail or succeed. I think that was a bedrock of the success that I experienced today, was from a lot of that foundational training. But it matured me as a person. Like, it forced me to grow beyond what I even knew was possible. So I'm always super grateful for that experience. But
Well, and true servant too, like from the
oh yes,
point of what your dad told you, like you need to serve people. I feel like the ministry side of it, especially with the salary or lack thereof that you get there. I mean, that is what we were doing.
it was very missional. And I think the only other places where you find that level of mission is like in the military,
Yeah.
or in politics. Like, you're truly doing it for whatever that umbrella cause is. And unless you've been in ministry, or you've been in the military, or you've been in politics, like, you don't really understand at that level of what like true sacrifice is. Like, you're giving up something substantially in order to do the thing that is more missional or nonprofit in nature.
Right.
But I did end up going back to college. I graduated with 3.9 with a degree in economics. And so I did make that transition later in life. And I did that when I was working for the startup that was right after ministry. Okay. But it's funny, I had all the skills, but they were not from a vocabulary vernacular. They were not transferable. So it'd be like, I got hired as a brand manager for this company, but in reality, like, I never had a brand job description or scope before I worked there. Like, someone took a risk on me to be like, this is a marketing specialist type of position, but we need someone who's cognizant of brand. And I was like, well, here's the connecting dots. And I had a buddy on the inside who was like, I'll vouch for you. And maybe their options were limited. I don't know. But I went in there and absolutely transformed the company. I mean, they went from getting leads that would come through a magazine, Dentistry Today magazine, what it was called. So Dentistry Today, people would fill out a bubble sheet. Like, perforated terracotta
SAT.
They fill out their name in like a Scantron, like select what they wanted, and then they mail it in.
Oh.
And I'm like, guys, there has to be a better way. It's 2015. I'm like, there has to be a better way. Why don't we use social media? And they're like, oh, like, dentists aren't social media. I said, you're right. The people are. So even if they're uploading, guys are doing whatever, they're still there. They're just silent in the context of dentistry. So why don't we do this? So this is the early stages of like people trying to figure out, is this social media thing going to actually produce results for businesses? That was in question in 2015. And they were calling people like me a heretic, like, this is impossible, it's never going to happen. And I'm like, you're a bunch of idiots. So I convinced the CEO of the company to give me $100,000 in advertising spend, to take it out of the $10,000 a month magazine, to move it into social media. We went from getting 3 to 6 leads a month to over 500 a month. It fractured the internal working of the system because we were never prepared to handle that lead volume. And we ended up growing almost $6 million in the next 9 months on a $2,500 product, if there's any context. So that was absolutely transformative for that company.
Yeah.
And every win that I could collected, I would use as a leverage point to get the next opportunity until I started doing stuff on my own. So I went from making $25,000 a year in ministry to making $250,000 a year in 3 years, just by properly moving through those elements and like leveraging each layer up. And went from a specialist to a VP in that amount of time as well.
Wow, that's pretty cool. Yeah, it's like the first opportunity is always the hardest to get. First 100 grand is always the hardest to make. But like, whether it was luck or just like lack of, you kind of implied that maybe your first opportunity, they were more desperate than the average or something like that. But it's like, once you have your foot in the door, you're in an environment where you can secure wins that you wouldn't otherwise be able to secure, which you just leverage into higher and higher positions or opportunities. So yeah, that's incredible, man.
Yeah, despite not the small beginnings in many ways. Like, that's something my dad foundationally trained me and my brothers in, which is like, if you get your foot in the door, you make the best of that opportunity, because you don't know where the next opportunity is going to come from. And you might know somebody who knows somebody, but like, you don't not show up. You don't show up unprepared. You don't show up and not give 110%.
Right.
Those things were just instilled in our character. And I think that's what helped me move through the ranks quickly, but also then ultimately be a business owner myself and chart my own path. Yeah.
Cool. What were the nature of your businesses after this series of jobs that you had?
So the first one was essentially consulting. So very similar to what I do today. So if you have an umbrella, it was essentially consulting and advisory types of services. Then I built 2 different content companies. One was a virtual, make content, create content like Gary Vee type of thing. So short form content, you see those all virtual, did during COVID. We went from 0 to 125 clients in 4 months. That was insane. That's an insane pace of growth. I don't wish upon anybody.
And these are like high ticket,
Yeah, it was like, hey, we're going to put you on a Zoom recording. And so we're going to record you on Zoom. And then we're going to basically find, it was, let me see if I can remember the 3 steps of the process. It was, we're going to record, then we're going to edit, and then we're going to post. So we're going to record an interview with you. That's going to feel like a podcast. Because a lot of people had a lot to say. They just didn't know how to say it.
Yeah.
So we're like, well, we'll just record you. We'll let you spit out fire. Then we'll edit it. We'll find all the best moments and we'll harvest it. And then we'll actually publish out on all top 5 social media platforms for you. And it's $1,000 a month.
Cool.
So instantaneous. It was amazing.
Yeah.
It was absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
And the retention lines were like a little bit wacky because some people thought at that time, thinking Gary Vee, 2019 or 2020, just post content. And it's like, well, I'm going to make money if I just post content.
Double up. Yeah.
So no, where you solve one problem, you create 10 more. So it's like, well, we have the content piece solved now, but like now they're not doing any follow-up. They're not doing any outreach. They're getting DMs. They don't know how to respond. So it was one of those things where it solved the chief problem, but it actually created more issues. And also the industry was giving a false narrative of if you just post, it's going to generate business. It's like, no, posting is just a primary piece of creating attention. But that doesn't guarantee whether you're going to get leads and doesn't guarantee you're going to get sales. It's just all the attention piece. More people know about you, who you are, and what you do. But if you're not actually now going out, commenting on other people's stuff and like engaging with them at a deeper level or running ads for that matter, like it's not going to solve the collective issue.
Yeah.
So it was a great MVP style offer for people just wanting to solve the content problem. And then basically I took that idea. It was very successful. And it also had edges that I felt like were not going to work themselves out as far as production timelines and stuff. We were unbelievable, like a week. So if we record a week later, you had everything and be posting. But you run into revision hell, or I don't like those captions, even though they selected those captions, they went the whole process and onboarding. They said it's exactly what they want. Oh, I don't like the way that I look on camera. So at 125 people, you're dealing with all different types of challenges and issues. And we ratified those as quickly as we could, but we kind of got to the place where I realized like the production timelines, how those were happening, they became crushing. And I was like, it's just not worth it. But it was doing $1 million a year within the first 4 months. Wow. We went from idea to $1 million in run rate. 125 people, $1,000 a month without add-on services. So I think we were to about 175,000 a month. And I shut it down. So I was like, this is not worth it. So that could just give some context, right?
So you just liquidated, liquidated, but you just shut the doors. Yeah.
Yeah. Basically said, we're not taking new clients for the people that we were working with. We work with them through the end of the year and operate and try to help them find that somebody else who could do what they do.
Oh, yeah.
I took that same concept and I said, well, I think it may work better and you can charge more and you can have the add-ons of ads as well, like we were doing before, but you can do it in person. So what I wanted to do was almost switch the avatar, but not change the service. The service offering was really, really good.
Yeah.
But the avatar was like really early stage entrepreneurs who didn't have any money to spend in ads and whatever. And they were like, I'm going to try this out. But they're like, do I pay my mortgage or do I do content? You're like, these are decisions you don't want to have somebody even ethically have to like face.
Yeah.
It's like, no, pay your mortgage and just find a better way to get clients or to post content. So I transitioned it into an in-person offer. And that was short for Mentor. So I got a business partner on that one. I didn't want to run the company. I wanted to be an advisor. And we blew that up. Same thing. We started in July. By March, we were doing over $80,000 a month. And then same type of thing. He was like, I don't really want to do this. He was 20. So he's like, just looking forward in my life. I don't want to run the agency, whatever. I promised myself I would never run another agency. So I was like, okay. Just like took a bit out of it and move on. Yeah. So agency world for me, like it's easy to generate the resources, but it's also easy to fall out of love of the process because you have to be able to count on your people.
Right.
And what I learned through those things were like different people have different aspects of what they want to achieve or accomplish in life. And for the ones that are younger, I'm like a big brother. Like I'm going to help them, but I'm not going to do it for them. And a lot of people want to enjoy the results of what it is that you can produce while sitting on the sidelines going, go team, where's my check?
Yeah.
And not actually doing the work, because they don't understand what it takes. I know what it takes. I built my first company off of the kitchen table in the bedroom. Like, I know what it takes. I know, like, the late nights, the hard calls, the $100,000 IRS tax payments here. How the hell am I going to solve this? I know all that shit. I went through all. And then there's like, where's my money? So the biggest challenge generationally with the new stage or new wave of entrepreneurs is they have very high expectations with a $5 work ethic. And we have to be very aware of that. Like, that's not going to last. They've been over-cobbled, over-celebrated. Oh, you're so good at making videos. You're so good at doing this. We're so good at doing that with no challenge.
Well, we're looking at you, door knockers. Yeah, I had to down that.
So there's aspects to this of like, you got to realize what it takes to win. And I think for our generation, like mid millennial dudes who are like older brothers to this next generation, it's like, you guys don't understand what it takes emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually. You have no idea what it takes to win because they're coming in at different pace, a different speed with very, very high expectations. Meaning, I think the absolute mind virus that we can experience at that level is entitlement. They're entitled to the win without doing the work. And for me, that's cancer. That's loser DNA. Yeah. And so I love them, but I will challenge them at a very high level. And I can go for anyone. I just see it rampant with the next generation that's coming through. Yeah. And then there's always standouts. Don't get me wrong. Like, one of the guys who worked for me is 23 years old. I'm like, this dude shows up like he's been in business for 25 years, follows through, executes, like doesn't miss a beat. And it's just very rare to find now. But before, I think, Hermosi talks about the bar is so low. Yeah. Like, the bar to win is so unbelievable, lower than it's ever been. So like, for those of us who are confident, strong, have good ethics, good integrity, want to do the right thing for us and our families, it's like, come on, there's no better time, literally. Yeah. You don't have a lot of competition coming up, and everybody else older than you is probably trying to sell their business and get on to the next thing, even if that's retirement. Yeah. So.
Yeah, so much of it, I think so much of what you and I have talked about is making sure they're counting the costs before you actually go build the thing.
I just think of that.
I have this aspiration to launch this agency and do like a hard launch over the next year or two, But when we initially talked, it was kind of like the idea was maybe I would slowly eclipse what I'm doing window cleaning organically, and then just let window cleaning die a slow death. And everything would kind of just gradually increase in terms of like client volume and revenue as a result of that, the refinement of my processes, stuff like that. Where I think where you really challenged me in that was just carrying the cost of what the implications are for building something like that, and while simultaneously encouraging me to 10x what I was previously kind of thinking about doing. I always had aspirations of growing it to a level where I could potentially exit for what to me would be a life-changing amount of money. But I think one of the biggest ways that you challenged me was just actually taking it seriously. And I thought I was before we started working together. So, yeah.
So there's a root of the principle there in what we talked about, and Days you've experienced as well, which is, I guess there's two. Gary Vee was one of the very first mentors I ever had in business. Very, very, very early on. I remember sending him an email, and my mom had cancer at that time, and I was like, because of what you taught me and you gave me the inspiration, the optimism, the hope that it was possible for someone like me too, I was able to pay all of her medical stuff. But she had insurance, thank God, but she's self-employed, so there's still a lot that was involved. I was able to pay all of that because of what you did to teach me and show me. And it was just like daily V, basically. And then that spurred off a relationship because of that. And tells the first blog post that was posted from my inbox to yours. So if you look that up for Gary Vee's blog, you'll see the very first one is where our relationship started, which was amazing. But he has this saying, which is, everybody needs a burger. You can't live off of pickles and onions. It was just a funny thing. It's like, what the hell does that have to do with it? Well, the idea is that you can't live off of the scraps of toppings. You need to have something that's substantive when it comes to your business. And if I could go back and do it differently, the first agency that I had, I started in 2000, it would have been 16. And I rolled it through about 2019 before I had a partner split, and then it got really complex. But we were doing almost $400,000 a month. It was me and one other dude and like a BA. So you can imagine how profitable this thing was. And I didn't know what I was doing. There were no Alex Rabosi books on offers. Like this was just straight up like, people are willing to pay this. I think if I do it on a performance basis, I could probably make a lot of money this way. And so if I can make it so that the retainer's low, but the upside is high, let's just see what happens. And they went from writing $2,200 checks a month to $40,000 checks a month. And so, and we had 85 clients that all came through text messages. I didn't run one ad. I didn't have to. Somehow I got lucky. I got great results from one guy who knew this other guy. And then they were part of a mastermind of 200 other people who did the same thing that they did, who were all regionally based. So none of them had crossover. So they recommended it was the best layup in business ever.
Yeah.
And trying to recreate that has actually been incredibly difficult. But it was, I don't know, I was just willing and I just stepped through it and just did whatever. But looking back, I was like, I could have kept that business. No problem. I could have kept that business. Even if I told the other guy, like, it's fine, I'll pay you whatever, do whatever. I could have kept that simple and kept the burger, but I didn't. And then COVID hit, and I lost $1 million in recurring revenue in 2 days. So we went from this whole thing, partner split, whatever. That's in March of 2019. Go all the way down to like December of 2019. And I just took the best clients. It was about 50, 60K a month. Took the best clients. I still had some coaching clients I was working with over the year. If you bundled all that together, it was about $1 million a year. All of them dropped 2 days after March 15th. Every single one of them. The doctors were like, we can't see patients. Remember non-elective procedures, 90 days, not that. So they were like, we can't we're guess we'll just learn it in-house. And the coaching clients were like, I just lost all my clients too.
Wow.
So I went from year before, basically, clearing almost $200,000 a month in profit to zero. And so that'll teach you a lot about valuing the thing that you have, because I could have probably found a different way. I could have probably pivoted that a little bit differently. If I wasn't so concerned about just keeping it as it was, maybe I could have talked them into like, okay, we'll delay this and I'll take X amount off for the future to try to get them to latch into it now to give them the benefit later. Maybe there could have been something that I could have done. There was a lot of uncertainty at that time. But going to zero is like an ultimate Usain fail.
Yeah.
Like that is just like, and again, circumstances, whatever it is, what it is. But that's like part of the lesson of going, like, don't lose the hope, like hold on to the thing you have. Like you don't know how good you have it until it's gone. And it's true for marriage. It's true for friendships. It's true for business. Same thing. So part of holding on to it in the secondary format outside of the practical things of business is how you do one thing, is how you do everything. So it's about character and integrity. You ever heard that saying, God won't give you more than you can handle? I think it's bullshit. God won't give you more than you can manage. So it's about stewardship, time, money, people, attention, values, skill sets. Why would I give you more skills if you can't leverage the ones you have?
Yeah.
Why would I give you more money if you can't manage what you have? Why would I give you more, whatever, opportunity, leads, if you can't manage what you have? So in the way that we contextualize it, won't give you more than you can handle. That's not true. He's not going to give you more than you can manage. If he takes his best and pours it in your hands and it falls through the cracks, why would he do it again? So part of it is looking at the universal principle of like, you won't give me more than I can manage. Okay, how do I manage what I had better? Here's what I know. If you manage it the way that you can, meaning at your highest level, if you truly took into consideration all the things that you could do and maximize the potential and value of it, and it was managed well, not just by you, but by the people that you've then had as your extended network and your team, you would never want to get rid of it because you're going to create $10, $20, $30, $40, $50,000 a month doing nothing. Systematizing the business and letting other people find purpose through it. So that's the other side of it. Is like, why would you kiss that away? Why would you say, I love you, but bye? It doesn't make any sense if you can see the elongated version of that opportunity. So, and we say, okay, high integrity, what does high integrity say? In a relationship, the grass isn't greener on the other side. I'm going to do the work now. Even if I'm going to step out of this relationship in a year, and that's my plan. I cannot stand this person and I want to be out of this relationship. Great. Get the best shape of your life. Get your health in the best position it's ever been. Create the best relationship with your kids you could ever have. Tighten up your finances in the best way that you possibly can. And serve your wife in a way that you would be like, this is the absolute best I could have ever done. Guess what happens in a year? You don't go anywhere.
Yeah.
Why? So it was an internal game the whole time. That's the way I look at a human relationship. That's the same way I look at business, because it's an organism. It's a unit. It's a company. It's just a collection of things.
It's funny you said that. I don't know if I said that first or if I heard you say that originally, but you on our last call, I told you this felt kind of like I had a plan to like get a divorce in a year or two from like my business or like, you know, if you're a marriage counselor. And so I hired you as like a dating coach
Yeah.
to help me make sure that I enter the dating market in top shape. And you like prompted me to invest as much as I could into the relationship that I currently had so that like, you know, when I get out, I'm
Good.
correct for the market in general. And in the process, I've become more interested in this business that I've been in for as just like a solo guy for 8 years than I've ever been.
Yeah.
And I basically started our relationship by saying, like, look, I'm doing this thing. I'm not that interested in it. I kind of would ditch it. Can you help me ditch it? And you were like, sure. Let's do it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's beautiful, man. And I think at the end of the day, what's cool is like, what's intoxicating in business is winning. So when I hear a lot of people say, well, I want to do something different, what I hear is, I want to win. And I'm sick of losing. I'm sick of being isolated. I'm sick of being frustrated. I'm sick of all the pressure being on my head. And it doesn't get diversified. I'm sick and tired of like being, not enough money at the end of the month. I'm sick of all this shit. That's what they're really sick of. They just want to win. So in my core positioning, even for myself, it's helping people win.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing better than success. And success is just determined upon whatever it is that you say that you want and the emotion behind it. So some people say, I want a lot of money. I go like, well, what does that get you? And then they're going to tell me the emotions. Well, I'm going to feel significant, or I'm going to feel valued, or I'm going to be able to buy whatever I want. Okay, buy whatever you want. What does that give you?
Yeah.
Options. Okay. What do options give you? Well, a sense of freedom. So there's always emotion behind the thing. So even in the same format, I'm not really cringe this thing. It's just whatever. You go, okay, cool. Well, if you were making $300,000 a year and you did zero and didn't have any headaches because someone else solved them, you probably wouldn't say, I want to get rid of this thing. You probably say like, what's the better way? So that's why I don't call myself a business coach, because the root of the things that I solve have a lot more to do with human psychology and innovation.
Yeah.
It's like understanding the human and what they want, and then understanding how to find a better way. So it's kind of complex, but not really. It's just like, we just are persistent without quit. We find a better way and we execute. But whenever people start just feeling that upward trend, it's amazing. And it's not just with the guys that y'all and myself. This goes for like anybody and everybody who I've worked with. It's the same thing. People want to win. They do not want to be on the losing end.
Yeah. So true there.
Yeah.
I'm curious. I sent you a voicemail a couple of days ago describing this problem that I'm having. And I only have you to blame for it, Frank. One of the most effective things that you've done in our relationship so far, and I don't want to cheat with it. That's super effective, is just telling me how much money to go make.
Yep.
We have minimums or goals for every single month. And that's been hugely effective. It's literally just like, it's not even like a push on the rear. It's more like you're just like putting your hand on my back and just be like, go this way.
Yeah.
That's been super effective. One of the byproducts of that is I've had to generate a lot more leads. You're on. Yeah.
Days of blame for that one, right? And big shit.
Yeah. I'm sitting right now as one point in the triangle of business chaos.
Yeah.
And I call leads basically until they tell me to shut up and go away, or until they bluff that any person estimate, which is like the process in our business. Last month, I had about 100 cumulative leads, and it takes an average of 3 calls to get in touch with them. So, on a 30-day month, I'm making about 10 phone calls a day, just averaged out throughout the entire month. On one hand, that's like doable. It's like anybody can make 10 phone calls. On the other hand, it's turned into another job function completely. And I've always done that, but I've never had 100 leads in a month.
Absolutely.
So
Create one. You solve one problem and create 10 more.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Speaking of that, as part of the solution, I've been running into tons of problems. I've had some calls with Jill's office, and while that seemed like a great, especially inbound call center, their outbound for me has been a bit lackluster in terms of what they can provide. And they have these weird edge cases where they can't call outbound leads within the first sometimes as a caveat, they say like up to 24 hours.
Yeah.
But like even in the first hour or two, like that's pretty slow by my standards. You can do a workaround for that, but then the follow up doesn't really get done. So I'm just gonna try to wrap my brain on what to do. You tested me some potential solutions, but do you want to? I feel bad. I hope I'm not over. Now we're going here. Yeah, but can you tell Nick about what I said that's what we have talked about for the last 24 hours?
Yeah. Colby had brought to me that issue with Jill's.
Yeah.
And then I read through the text that you said. And after I read it, I was like, Colby, I think you have two options. Yeah. You can do exactly what Nick is advising, or you will hire yourself a Christine.
Yeah, totally.
Those are your options.
Yep.
And I think at the end, in my opinion, and this is just what I would do, and I actually feel like I'm in a very, very close spot to him in making that type of hire, because not just from a business standpoint, but to manage the business calendar, to reaching out to leads, to answering phone calls, to keeping my personal calendar in order. There is so much that I can feel, that I feel there's so much weight that I'm carrying in each hand, and my grip is getting tired.
Yep.
And now there's things that I am dropping that I cannot drop. It's basically how I explained it to,
As your phone's ringing.
yeah, as my first court is literally, yeah, a lead.
Oh, yeah.
It's like this very moment, like what's literally happening right now. I'm like, I want to answer that so bad.
These people, it made great for the pod.
Yeah.
People had to do a freaking lead follow on.
But for us, I almost felt like the Jill's office and all of the options that you have they're great options. But I think with what is actually needed, and I think what would serve you best and what would serve me best, is actually having a Christine in our life.
Totally.
Nazi, let's say yes,
Yes, Christine is Nick's executive assistant. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But she has the capabilities of much more than that.
Yeah.
And she's a unicorn. Highly skilled, understands family dynamics, supported 7 executives at once. So I'm like, come on over here.
Yeah.
And so those types of people you treat well, you pay well, and you understand that the support optics that they provide sometimes are even greater than the problems they solve. This is so important. How does an entrepreneur, when they feel supported, like knowing that someone's there and they're not carrying on all on their own, is almost more relieving than the problems they solve?
Well, listen, dude, you were in a call when I arrived at your house. Yeah. And Christine greeted me at the door. She opened the door for me when I was halfway up the driveway. It's just like that level of attention and assistance is like unreal. You can't like
do again. It comes back as serving.
It does. Absolutely.
And that's literally how she's wired.
Yeah. That's kind of where my brain has been. Like I'm not sure. I don't know. Like maybe in a separate conversation, Born to Help, you and I are talking about the pricing implications of something like that. But like I have the call stuff and the texting stuff that could be trained and done by somebody like an EA. I have, and there's a couple other things, like there's schedule management that I need to kind of dial in, both with my business and personal life. My wife is constantly telling me about events that I'm not immediately putting into my calendar.
And then they arrive that I third day. Oh no.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I had that conversation every day. To put in my calendar,
And then I would love more flinging business owners to be on the podcast, and more people that are, parallel to what I'm doing with Queen for Profit here. And my outreach is lackluster and inconsistent. It basically just comes up when I'm interested in a post that I see somebody else make, and I sort of reach out to them one time and maybe they get back in touch with me.
Yeah.
So those are like 3 big things I think that would be, they're not directly income producing activities right now, right? But the amount of leverage and the amount of weight that they take off of my take days is massive. So I don't know if you had in general thoughts about something like that, but
absolutely. And then after this, we should take a break and have Dave call this lead back.
Yes, sir.
And watch the prowess of someone who understands how to freaking work a lead. Because for everybody else watching, I think it'd be really interesting. With Christine, I was an EA as an intern before I started in church ministry. So when I went back to serve, I did. Then became basically the EA to the number 1 guy and served as number 2. So I understand what real support looks like. It's my natural state. I'm a supporter. On every personality test or entrepreneurial DNA test, I took one. It's called Wealth Dynamics. If you haven't taken it, it's really, really amazing.
I think Dave's probably wondering what Enneagram number you are right now.
I'm a 7.
Okay.
Yeah. Most people think I'm a 3, but I'm a 7, which is, it's more so like,
Most people think I'm a 3 and I'm a 7.
you are too?
Yeah.
It's because it's our enthusiasm. We're enthusiastic about the things that we want. And it's not just about like, it's not about recognition. It's not enthusiasm. We're the things that we're actually excited, we're truly excited about. And that's conviction. Like you can't teach that. Yeah. It's just we love it or we don't.
Yeah.
But what's fascinating, like with someone like Christine, is I know what support looks like because I did it. So when you find someone who understands that level and how to support you, it's very weird. So you're like, I used to do these types of things. And I've had other people try to step into that role who don't follow through. I mean, I literally had a VA who was in the Philippines and I had to install screenshot software on her computer because I was like, is she actually doing what she's supposed to?
No way.
And she billed me for 5-6 hours and her screen wouldn't change because she thought it took a picture every hour. I switched it so it took a picture every minute. And I'm like, okay, so this is extortion, and like, that's $5 an hour. Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
And you move on. But I'm like, I don't want someone who's just going to try to like, I'll give you a great example. For everybody listening, write this down. There's 4 different types of people who work for your company. There's 4. One person who's going to do less than what's expected. So it's bare minimum, less than what's expected, right? You have the next person who's going to do what's expected, but nothing more. So like do what the statement of work says, but I'll do nothing more. Then you have people who will go basically above what's expected. So you have that standard line. They're going to do a little bit more, maybe the 110% type person. But those people are worth keeping around. But then you have somebody who champions your vision. That's the difference. I was consistently getting people who wanted to do less than what was expected while getting paid the maximum. Yeah. It's never going to work. And I know we all can probably name 9 out of 10 people who we know or who we've hired who are the same way. To find someone who's going to champion the vision is very abnormal. I was going to tell you now, those are like, you get maybe 2 to 3 of those in a lifetime of business. And though they could look at Jack Welch and his EA wrote a book about supporting him. Like that type of person, like that's a 1 in a million. A Sheryl Sandberg, the CEO of Facebook, 1 in a million. Like I'm sure Elon has his people that he's chosen where like, you're never going anywhere. Yeah. Like he couldn't find a chief engineer, so he became one. But eventually, I'm sure now he has smart, competent people are in place that aren't going anywhere. You get like 2 to 3 of those and you don't screw it up. I've hired family members. Like did not work at all. Worst situation ever. I've hired like my cousin. He was awesome. Very, very competent, very skilled, great supporter, but he just lacked experience. So for him, it was a little bit different. It was just like, I couldn't throw him enough problems to solve.
Yeah.
So he was too young to know like even how to solve them. And didn't necessarily, like he was an athlete. So he had like, I'll do whatever you want me to do. I'm in. But then I'd have to like tell him every single step. Yeah. So that was a little bit challenging, but he still had the right fit, like in the heart for it. And that's what mattered. With Christine, there has yet to be one thing. I showed her Pipe Drive. Okay. So talking about Pipe Drive, it's a CRM.
This is like GHL.
It's like GHL, similar type, but GHL is better though. So
yeah, I'm sticking with it. The Bell Ray.
But Pipe Drive School, this is with an enterprise client. So like this is the system they were using. She's like, you show me something one time. That's all I need you to do is show me one time and I'll figure it out. So I show her Pipe Drive, show her the Kanban view. Here's what we're doing. Here's whatever. She's like, got it. Good. Whatever. She ends up meeting with my client, with their sales rep, trains him on the entire system, finds bottlenecks and problems that exist and solves them with him, empowers him, shows up. She has the ability to coach and teach and train because she homeschooled her kids for, 18 years. Then you have the other side and she has the capabilities of like supporting the executives. So she knows how to have a conversation with one of my clients who's a CEO because she's going to show up the same way she shows up for me. And then she just has competence. Like this is the rarest thing is a competent human being. Yeah. It's very rare. So, and then she has integrity. She follows through. But she's always asking me every day, what else can I do for you? What else? I'm like, Christine, no, to be honest with you, just knowing that you're there sometimes is enough. Yeah. I don't need you to do anything. I'm just grateful that you texted me and said, what do you need from me today? So I'm like, nothing. Go hang out with your grandson. I don't care. Like if something pops up, I'll let you know. And that was very hard for her at the beginning. It was very hard for her to understand the value of not being needed, but the value of when I need you, I know that you're there.
Yeah.
Like anything else in life, a lot of it is optics until it isn't. If shit hits the fan, she's the first line of defense. Always. I could ask anyone. I could have a water leak at my house and something blows up and I'm in, Orlando with the kids. She'd be the first person here. insolvent. You can't find that. You can't pay for that. You can't pay enough for that.
Yeah.
While at the same time, there's very practical costs of things. Like, nope, some weeks are much faster than others. Some are slower than others. But to your point, for the costs that you may have paid for other things, it could be more. But at the same time, the value is that much more. And if you are freed up as an entrepreneur and you have more space and time, then all of a sudden, like it's worth the trade-off, no matter what it is. I don't calculate what she does hourly at all. I don't need to.
Yeah.
I just know if she's there, it makes sense for me. It makes sense for her. And that's it. I mean, it's crazy simple.
Yeah.
But you do have to have parameters and expectations. Like, she's truly an EA. Like, she doesn't do phone calls. She doesn't do all this other stuff. But if there's something specific I need from her on a daily basis, she'll just set aside. She meets with one of my clients, his sales team. Meets with one of the guys every morning, every afternoon. And the morning starts 135. What's the one big thing you're going to do today? Okay, great. What are the 3 medium-sized things that are going to take you about a half hour? What are those things? Great. What are 5 things that take 5 to 15 minutes today that you're going to accomplish? We took this guy from like out of his mind firefighting mode, bringing all of his work home, working until 10 o'clock at night because he was so inefficient, to last week, he was like, this is the most beneficial thing that I've done in this company. He's been there for 13 years. We've been there for 2 months. Wow. Like, so it's just telling, like, there's support, there's things that are needed, give it a structure. He's a very entrepreneurial. That's why I do. I read it right away. I'm like, this guy's overwhelmed, perhaps he's going to freaking lose his mind. But he can't help himself. So you put someone like Christina in there, give him the support and accountability, but it doesn't feel like accountability. It's just integrity. Did you do what you said you were going to do? Every day. She calls him at 1 o'clock Central Time. Did you do today what you said you were going to do? Yes or no? And he either has to man up and say no, and here's what I'm going to do to fix it, or he's going to get it done. Right. But he said those 2 things alone. It doesn't take mastery. Again, for me, it's pattern recognition. I know myself well enough, which is why I know a lot of entrepreneurs, but also I've learned the things that make sense, the things that are helpful. And I'll just end with the thought, the TLDR version, is having someone who can support you in business is one of the most valuable things that you'll ever have. But it takes a very specific type of person who really understands entrepreneurs, who probably is not equatable to an exactly hourly thing, at least in this season of my life. Yeah. She's solving the problem that I need her to solve. And to me, that's worth its weight in gold. Yeah. Just knowing that there's support. So many of us as entrepreneurs, we have no support. We do it all on our own. And everyone would look at a vendor or this thing or that. It's all problems. It's more excuses. It's more bullshit. Yeah. Not someone who just says, got it. And when I return back to go, how did it go? They're already like, I already sent your email.
Yeah.
That's the best part.
Yeah, totally. And that's, I think, just to like dig into your point a little bit more about like needing support, like you're talking about practical day-to-day support and that accountability.
Yeah.
And that's amazing and something that I need to figure out for sure. But there's support that comes from outside of you, from somebody who's kind of paved the way over is ahead of you, such as yourself.
Yeah.
And there's support from peers, which is why, like, you know, it was no small thing for, you know, Dave to have me over at his place for a week, who I met 12 months ago, you know, off the internet. And likewise, like, you know, it was no small thing to like make the investment to come out here for a week. But the amount of payoff and his general benefit, encouragement, motivation, all of the above that's resulted from both of these kind of key relationships has been an asset. I wouldn't be able to fabricate that in my own head or in my office alone.
I will say, year on Dave, that's what happens.
Yeah.
Dave's a great human being, so he knows great people. And he's like me. It's very unique to find people who are like, no, like I literally there's nothing here. Like, I just want to see you and I want to help you.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, okay, what's the catch? You're like, nothing. I just want to see you win.
Yeah.
It's so strange in today's world that's hyper-transactional.
Yeah.
To find people that are highly relational. And Dave's always been that way. I mean, God, we went to church together when we were like freaking toddlers.
Yeah, you guys have been since forever.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, I mean, his parents were at my parents' wedding, like vice versa, probably like long time.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a wild thing, but like Dave's always the one that standouts. And similar to you, like when you have that first interaction, you meet Dave, what you see is what you get. It's always been that way. But he's always been a hustler, hardworking, figure it out, make it happen. Out of all my friends that are entrepreneurial or who have aspirations, it's like I talk to Ash about this all the time. I always said from the early stage when Dave first posted, I'm like, he's gonna win. He's just got the DNA for it. He just does. He has the relational skills, the integrity, the accountability, the drive, the reason why, like with his family and his kids, like he has the makeup for it. And he'll win at an extremely, extremely high level. If so, that's what he wants. I always preface that because some people, like for me, I'm in lifestyle stage of business. I'm like, I want time with my kids. I work 25 hours a week. Like I used to work like 90.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this sucks. And I don't want to do this anymore. Different seasons, different reasons, different timelines. If I spent 10 years working 25 hours a week, I would have lost my mind. So it's peaks and valleys. So I'm in between two mountains right now. Like there was the first one and I like got through that and learned a lot. But then, you go through hard things in life and we face some unique things that we went through. And so then you kind of look at the second mountain, like what does life redefined look like? Well, I hope to God of this having now is like, I'm around. Because the quotient that I figured out was like, the people that you have in your life determine the quality of your life very much. Dr. Jordan Peterson talks about it. The minute you walk in your house, that interaction with your wife becomes your life. Why? Because it's a staple that happens over and over and over again in 5-minute increments every single day for a lifetime. That is your life.
Yeah.
It's the interaction with your kids come home from school. It's not the big things. It's those small things.
Yeah.
And if you can have positive interactions, I went through this when we went through like hell in our own relationship and like figuring shit out. Everyone thinks that like 7-year to 10-year thing. Like in marriage, you're like, holy shit, what do I need to do different? Because this is like not working, but I'm the problem. You figure that out very quickly. But then when you go through that state and you deep dive it, like what we realized was more positive interactions than negative ones, which is recalibrating expectations and allowing yourself to be honest about the things that you want, but also the things you need to improve and taking 100% responsibility of everything. So that's what we did. We were like, all right, what are the things that need to change about me, for me?
Yeah.
And Dr. Jordan Peterson said, your life is basically the culmination of these positive interactions outweighing the negative ones. And in addition, it has to do with those small incremental moments. And now I've mastered those things, but my life is different because of it. Quality of my relationships were different because of it. And the people who come in my life are different because they see those things.
Yeah.
So how'd you come to be like so chill and cool? What's your deal?
It's just like that he was born that way.
I mean, I wasn't always. I mean, there is a side of me in my younger years, teens and early 20s, that before I was married, one of the things I think is that is interesting is a lot of before you get married and have kids, like ugly sides of you don't even know.
Oh yeah, dude. Oh my God. It's so true.
And
yeah.
I mean, like when I didn't know how much was honestly wrong with me until I got married, until I had kids. And similar to what you were saying, that you always go through this peak or valley in marriage where things get rough for a period of time. People either make it out with it, don't.
Oh, it's straight up. Like, hey, you can get through it.
Yeah. And, that Ashley and I got married in 2012, and we hit that rough spot in 2015. And it was the year we moved to Nashville. And, I mean, there was a period of time where we were separated for 8 months.
Wow.
And going back and forth between Rochester and Tennessee for a little while. And I mean, it was ugly. I mean, I got down to like 120 pounds, didn't eat. Lucia and August were basically babies. Freya wasn't even born yet. Asa obviously wasn't born yet. And, it was during that season, like the worst season of my life, where I feel like that's where I was really refined. And, it's what turned me into a man, probably. Mm-hmm. Like I was a boy up until that point. And it was when I started it was in those moments where it's like, where you're faced with this day where your family is about to be stripped apart if you don't get your shit together. Yeah. And I remember that moment. Like I literally remember that moment. It was Ash and I were separated this time. I was coming to the house to watch the kids so that she could go work at a Red Lobster in the evening hours. And I remember when she came home, which she stopped doing for a period of time until I moved out.
Yeah.
And I remember her coming home. It was like 11 o'clock at night. And the door opens up. And in my mind, I'm like, I'm going to be stuck here all night. Like, this girl doesn't even come home after she's out of work. And there's a reason why I'm saying all this. But I remember the door opening, and we didn't say a word to each other. We passed each other, and I went outside, and I sat in the car. And all I was thinking was, why was this the night she came home? Like, when I lived here, she never came home. Like, why she come home? And I'll equate it to the Holy Spirit. He said, it's because you're leaving. Wow. Because you're not here. And it was just that, for me, is that moment that hit me where that was the moment for me where I realized that there was so much more wrong with me than I thought. And it was years of therapy and getting help and talking to people who I trusted. And it was that moment. That's the only reason we're together, honestly. Like, I could have drove off and pretended I didn't hear that voice and been prideful and acted like nothing was wrong. And I wouldn't be married. My youngest kids wouldn't be here today. Like, all of these things. And I immediately, like, the following day, I was like, I don't care who the therapist is. Like, they're going to be smarter than I am. So if I literally followed a therapist, she literally was in training. She was like 2 years younger than I was, never married, but she changed her life, like, literally. And to answer, that was a very long-winded way of answering your question. Like, how did I end up the way I am now? It was that moment.
Trial through fire.
Yeah.
Pain.
Yeah. Suffering. That's what does it.
Yep, it's so true, man. Well, the thing that I think most people need to realize, a lot of times when you're going through it, it's hard to see it. So maybe I can drop a seed into someone's mind. In 6 months, maybe they're going to be the one going through it, because we all do, which is the idea that, like, the hardest things in life that come at you, you can't not feel or experience them. You could try to delay it. It's just going to hit you that much harder later. So you have to find a way to transmute it. This is why I think a lot of people become business owners and entrepreneurs. We're not all masochists. We are to a certain degree, probably. Yeah. Like, we enjoy the pain of, like, the process. But it's life trying to force transmutation, which I believe that the highest and best value of entrepreneurship is personal and spiritual development. I think money is the byproduct. Like, that is the byproduct of what you're willing to do in the transformation of who you are as a person. So life will throw you challenges. Whether it's you have the potential of divorce and separation, or whether my kid's going through a school shoot, or even me also experiencing the challenges of marriage and separation, divorce. And it forces you to look internal. It forces you to make critical decisions you would have never made.
Yeah.
But you have to transmute it, which I think is like a red ball of energy coming at you. Like, someone's throwing this red orb at you. Before it hits you, you have to kind of grab it in the air and turn it from red to green and send it back out. That is the trueness of being a conduit of heaven, because life will throw you challenges. Better is it, to give and receive, the idea, right? Like, well, it's happening through you as an individual. So we want to give. Well, we have to have the capacity to receive. Why don't more people ask for help? Because they don't know how to receive.
Yeah.
So they ask for more money, but they don't know how to receive. Why? Because their mind is programmed with mine doesn't grow on trees. I'm like, no, it's just changed inside the Federal Reserve, and they just give it a new number. How easy is that? It's not even real.
Yeah.
It's not real. Okay, so let me open my ability to receive, so my ability to give happens. That's transmutation. That is the whole thing. God, give me more so I can give more to others, right? So look at that compounding, multiplying factor in your life and be like, every hard thing has been given to me as a challenge in order for me to be able to essentially see that life change happen through me, so that I can give more back out to the world, more to my kids, more to my wife, more to my community, more to my employees, more to everybody. Like, that's the true abundance. But we think that it comes without pain and suffering. No, that is the fucking ticket. That is it. It is pain, suffering, hardship, intensity, no promise, no certainty, the void.
Yeah.
And it's up to you to go, like, I'm going to use this to my benefit. And every single scenario I look back at my life, I'll ask you both the same thing. Anything you've ever gone through in your life that you made it on the other side of, now knowing what you know, is there any part of you that wishes that would have never happened?
No.
Absolutely not. Why? Because that's how it works. It has to happen, because it changes us from the inside out. And we don't ever say, oh no, I wish it never would have happened. My kid's going through a school shooting? Yeah, certainly. Most people would say, I wish that never happened. My kids are more resilient. It saved my relationship, my marriage. I mean, it changed me on a fundamental level that I cannot explain. Like, people's lives were lost, and it's horrific. But the silver lining, it got my daughter the help from a neurological standpoint that we would never have known of. That could have plagued her for her whole life, what she was going through. But because of that, we found her. See what I'm saying? Like it always makes sense.
Yeah.
But it's our ability, our willingness to go like, I'm going to turn this hard thing into a better thing. But the only way that's going to happen is if I force myself or allow myself or create acceptance for myself to get through it to the other side. So God, help me. Will you bring the right people, the right resources, the right things around me in order to help me get to the next level? That's usually where the magic happens.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing, guys.
Yeah.
I was,
That's so bad.
I was, more than anything trying to poke fun at you.
It's all good. I mean, there's only one answer, and I already hate it. So yeah, I think one that way.
Lady Gaga.
I don't. I certainly don't have like anything off the cuff that's like as intense or transformative. But I think the most recent thing that's happened with us is my wife was diagnosed with lupus about a year ago. She started having symptoms immediately after our youngest Teddy arrived, like hours after, and yeah, for 3-4 months after she had problems walking, standing up. Her inflammation was just like off the charts. Just doing anything was excruciating. I would carry her to places around the house on a semi-regular basis for a while, and yeah, I had recently given my life to the Lord at that point. That was in 2023, and that really like was, there's a humbling walk in humility.
Yeah.
I think going through that, it was like kind of an involuntary time off for me. My parents were so supportive in that time, so it was very, very helpful. But that kind of drew us closer ultimately together than we've ever been. And she's also, as resilient and yeah, she's as badass as she's ever been, primarily as a result of that, of course, now. So that's been hugely transformative, but it was not fun to go through.
No,
for sure.
never is.
So yeah, man.
It's powerful, dude. And that's great. I mean, you've probably learned so much about yourself in that, your capacity to lead and to support, and also the limitations. Like it's the dual sword. It's like, wow, I showed up in ways I never thought I would have.
Yeah.
For me, I thought it would be the last person to be like, F this, my kids are going to march back up the hill and they're going to go back to that school. We're going to look the devil in the eyes. This powerful force of negativity in the eyes and go like, not happening. I would be not the first person to normally say that. But through all the stuff I've been through, I now learned, like, I know I can be that person.
Right.
And the same thing for you. Like, there were probably plenty of moments I'm sure you can point back to like, I did not know that love could love this deep. I did not understand that I had it in me to show up for this person in this capacity. I did not understand my ability to let go of convenience and preference in order to like be a champion of someone in their hardest hour.
Yeah.
Like
My others, right? That was a long bit.
yeah, I mean, you just go like, no, I'm going to put my family for who wouldn't.
Right.
But also that shows the other side of you, something really powerful that you can trust you on those things. And, it's so much easier in life to like do well for other people than we do for ourselves. Like it's human condition. We're always willing to do more for other people than we will for ourselves. But when you reveal moments of the distance in which you're willing to go for someone else, it actually shows you the distance that you're willing to love and appreciate and celebrate yourself. Most people don't give themselves permission to do that. So that's why I'm mirroring that back to you right now to go like,
Yeah.
slowing down to observe that and go like, what were the areas in which I surprised myself? What were the areas in which I allowed myself to go beyond maybe what I normally would have just naturally in my care for myself for someone else? Then you mirror that back and go like, in what ways can I do that for me? In what ways can I give myself permission to rest my you too? Now, some people on the opposite equation, where it's like, you saw how hard she fought and you're like, in what ways can I allow myself to be impassioned to fight something that's hard? Because she didn't just cower to it. She said, no, I'm going on offense. Even if I can't move, I will use my hands. I will use my mind. I'll do whatever I have to go on offense to try to solve this problem. So there might be like the resilience that she displayed with, and in the moment, an immobile body, but an empowered spirit, like two really powerful differences.
Yeah.
She found a way to get around the thing. And so you just inspect the whole thing. You're like, wow, what could those things have been? And then you apply them. I truly believe for most folks, it's like the challenge is like that we don't stop to observe. We're moving so fast. We don't analyze. It's like chess. I lost. Oh, this sucks. Okay, I'm hungry. Dude, just stop for 2 seconds and look at the board and go like, where did I make the mistake? That's the best game because like it's literally up to you. Like you're either make a right move or the wrong move. If you make a wrong move, you lose. So like inspect, just take 2 seconds to inspect and go, if you want to be the same thing, you're like, where did I win?
Yeah. Well, and we're naturally creators, right?
Yeah.
At the core. And so many times people don't pause and they complain about the outcome of their life. And it's like, you design.
Yes.
Like, just stop. Why don't you stop? If you don't like it, redesign it. Everything you had, you designed.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of power in taking a step back and getting this 30,000 foot view and even just recognize, like, am I happy?
It's a brilliant question for just like break it down and go like, am I happy? Not why.
Yeah. And that's why I even am doing what I'm doing with Glass there, because I did that and I was not. And this has been one of the most stretching things I've ever done. I didn't even know that I had limitations prior to this because I didn't work hard enough to reveal limitations.
Yeah.
And now I'm learning those. Like I'm literally living out this new being a business owner and recognizing and learning for the first time what those even are in my life. And it's revealing tons of beautiful things, of things that I need to dial in and dial back on and all that. But
Things you need to learn, obstacles to overcome.
Yeah.
I'm going to jump on something that you mentioned because we talked about it a little bit earlier, talking about the success ratio. Like for most entrepreneurs and for most people building businesses, the idea is that like, it's not that you fall out of love with the thing you have, is that you've kind of like lost this compass on winning and on success. And I'm just being self-serving success. I just mean the emotion of feeling like you're winning.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing more intoxicating than that. You're on a losing team. Like that's what it is. My daughter, she's the most resilient freaking kid. Basketball season, like 10 games. They lost every single game. They would not score above 10 points. And she would still, most enthusiastic. She'd get out there. She'd work her hardest. She'd celebrate. She'd high five. She'd do the whole thing. I'm like, this girl she doesn't even look at loss. It's just, what can we do better or we win? Like, it doesn't even exist on the table. I'm like, this is one of the most incredible things about her. Even for her, corrective behavior. It's just one of those things with our oldest. A lot more learning on via social awareness and things. So there's a lot more correction there. Shouldn't look at it as correction. Okay, Daddy. Okay, what do I need to do different? It's just the way she's wired and probably instilled in values. But look at the success ratio you mentioned. I realized, I looked at my life and was like, I'm just not happy. Like, then change something. Absolutely. Here's the ultimate hack, and probably because more dudes will listen to this than females. Probably like a 95%.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Here's one of the biggest hacks that I learned in life that got me not only motivated, but got me into the right headspace to win. I stopped trying to be happy. Now, this is a key because it's not a distraction.
Yeah.
Happiness is the first aim because what does everyone say? Okay, you call your wife, you're having a hard day. What does she say? I just want you to be not very happy. So it's ingrained in our culture and in our vernacular and the way that we communicate. When your kids are having a hard day and you're like, oh, honey, I just want you to be happy. Okay. With my son, I changed this because with myself, I changed this. I stopped trying to be happy and I tried to find ways to be proud of myself. For me, performance was always awarded in my family upbringing. Good at sports, attaboys, claps. Good at business, attaboys and claps. Do what you're supposed to do, attaboys and claps. All of my pride in a healthy way was outsourced. Someone else was the one telling me, yeah, I'm proud of you. I never learned how to say I'm proud of myself. This was like mind-shattering to me when I finally observed this. And then the whole world is saying, be happy. And I'm like, guys, lives suck. What do you mean be happy? We have to take the shit. For everyone, we're always wrong. There's always room to grow. There's always something we should do different. There's always a peer to compare ourselves to. There's a world that says now we should be demonized for, being men. Yeah. Like you can go down anything in any history, in any timeline, in any scope, and you just be like, it's hard being a dude. But I'm like, no, it's the best thing because I like hard things. So I'm like, I enjoy challenge. So now I want to become at the highest echelon of what I can as a man.
Yeah.
Which is not happy. Happy is for my kids on Christmas. Happy is for my wife. Because when she's happy, I feel happy. Why? Because I'm proud of myself. So the happiest I'll get is like watching my kids open presents on Christmas. So there have been plenty of years I find $5 in my bank account was spent. I don't know how the hell we're going to do, but we did.
Yeah.
Like those are But am I happy? No. I'm proud that we did it. I'm proud of myself that I got to accomplish. So if you substitute, especially for dudes who are a hard season, I know you think you want to be happy, but you don't. It's a lie.
Yeah.
You want to be proud of yourself. And one of the best ways to be proud of yourself is by doing hard things, observing hard things in your life and doing them anyway. So look at anything in your life that feels hard, that feels overwhelming, that feels like it's going to stretch you, pull you, put you into a different position in your life where you're like, I got 100 leads. Do the things that you would be proud of yourself in the future for doing had you done them. I don't care if that's going to the gym. I don't care if that's eating better. I don't care, whatever. You find the thing and you go like, I would be really proud of myself if I did that. You know, for me, I'm like, one of my things is I'd be really proud of myself if I could be consistent. So I started to try to find the lowest hanging fruit of something I could be consistent with. You know, it was making tea for my wife every single night. One of the things that has transformed our relationship is my ability to be consistent. It's not like go be consistent and go be on every world stage or go whatever, wash my car every day or even put gas in my car every 2 days and just make sure it never is on empty.
I'm just glad you didn't say brushing your teeth every day.
Brushing my teeth every day, right? There you go. It was every single night. She doesn't have to think about it. And I take care of it for her and I make her tea every day. And I could look back on something so crazy simple. What is happiness a byproduct of being proud of yourself? Go to the gym. Same thing. Like clients, you know, my goal is this year, 100% retention. Everyone else is going like, how do I build and scale? And how do I automate with AI every single, whatever. And I'm like, just 100% retention. Why? Because it's the highest level of service. If everybody is doing better because I'm involved in their life, don't go anywhere.
Yeah.
So they'd use ag. When the world says go this way, go that way. Why? Because I'm tooling it towards what I would be proud of myself about, not what everybody else is trying to tell me to do. And sure as fuck not being happy. Because that, happiness is going out, partying, drinking, it's hookers.
That's hedonistic.
100% there. And so I've just applied these principles in my life and gone like, okay, that's the aim. It's worked better than anything I've done in 38 years of my life is the last year and a half, 2 years of going like, how can I be proud of myself? It isn't fun when pride's always demonized. Because there is something in there when it's pride based on who you are and your status and what car you drive. That's not what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I'm talking about allowing yourself to be proud of you for doing hard shit that you don't feel like doing. Because feelings are just emotions. And those are for the females. I love having feelings. Those are important. But I use them as data. I analyze them and look at them and go like, okay, here, why am I feeling this way? Why am I experiencing this? And usually it has to do with a story that's bullshit. So how do I get out of that state? I go do hard things.
Yeah.
Hey, dude, it's like, what is that? Like hard times create, whatever.
Yeah.
On that. Yeah.
We're coming out of like the weak bullshit. And so I think that a lot of that, it creates this curve of like where we go. There's an intensity now into what we do. And there's like a responsibility that we're taking on. Because our culture is, I think, shifting towards a perspective of like, we're either going to like take full ownership and responsibility of ourselves and show up the way that we need to, or we're not. And I think there's going to be a lot lost for the people who don't.
Yeah.
But there's no way to lose if you're aiming towards going and doing hard things. Isn't it funny? I'll end with this concept. If you go eat ice cream, it feels good in the moment, not so great for you after.
Yeah.
Reverse it. And if you think of like, if I go to the gym, kind of sucks in the moment, like at 8 o'clock every night, I think still to this day, I had a debate with myself of like, I just wish I could just whatever, do this, and like, it's going to feel better after. And after every single time, I'm like, so fucking badass.
Yeah.
Like you could not even drive there a year ago.
Yeah. Right.
And now here, look what you're doing. So even with my son, I don't tell him I'm proud of you. I'm not going to hear that from me. I tell him, you should be really proud of yourself. And he goes, yeah. I go, do you know why? He'll be like, because of this? I'm like, that sounds good. Like I'm letting him self-prescribe.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, and it's one of the reasons why I don't. I've grown to train my brain to not. I don't care if someone has anything positive to say about me or negative.
Yeah.
I get energy. I don't get energy or lose energy from either one, a compliment or a diss or whatever. And one of the things that I literally do, it sounds crazy, but like if I'm driving and I have a full day of estimates and I land some really good ones, I will say out loud, do good work.
Yeah.
Like good work.
Yep.
because I don't look at it. I don't look for it from other people. And when I get home, I don't really share a lot about my day with Ashley because I'm not looking. When I'm at work, I literally don't think about my family. And when I get home, I try not to think about work.
Yep.
And she doesn't actually care anyways. All right. Which is the best part. Like if there's anyone that I want to say I'm proud of you the most, it'd probably be her.
Yeah.
And she's like, okay, like, good job, dude.
Yeah.
You sold some window cleaner. Good work. It's like the most humbling thing ever. But I also like love that. Like I love that she just doesn't care. She does. Like I'm not saying she's not like this heartless woman that like doesn't care that I'm successful, right, or doing well. But she's just like, yeah, I don't care about any of that. Like I don't.
And a big part of that is because she knows you're always going to figure it out.
Yeah, you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. Also, I don't want her to know if it's a good day or a bad day, because I don't want her to carry the weight of the bad days.
Totally. Oh, they carry that. I learned that, unfortunately, the hard way of like how much they carry with that. So I was just like I just thought it's good to be transparent and openly share. And I'm like, I dealt with all the drama now of, well, you should do this, do that, do this, do that, do that. And I'm like, really, this is upside down backwards.
Yeah. Because usually the things that stress me out, it's not even a stressful point yet. So why?
Like it's going to resolve itself.
I'm like, dude, I got 25K sitting in the bank account, in my business bank account. I think it's making me a little nervous. I got 10K sitting, like,
yeah.
I'm not gonna go tell her that. Right. Like, I don't want her to think that, like, she's gonna be like, what does that mean? Like, is that good? Is that bad? Like, I don't know if that's good.
So we get some Bitcoin.
Yeah, good. Yeah, we're. Do I need to go get a job? Like, what's going on? Yeah. So, like, I just don't. I don't share that stuff with her. But yeah, there's so much. I gain so much energy just telling myself, good job.
Yeah.
Like, good work.
And that is far more rare than you think.
Yeah.
And I think that's why AP consistently show up.
Yeah.
Like part of the fracture for me and the hard thing about showing up over and over and over again is it's dependent upon emotional state.
Yeah.
But you can create less variance in your emotional state if you know how to self-coach.
Yeah.
You know, like, because you just keep going. And I'm like, this guy is just relentless. Like, it's so fun to watch. Yeah. But because so many people are so concerned about, and it's an overstated thing, but about other people's opinions, I'm like, no, it's not even that. It's that people are in a negative emotional space. That's why people can post a picture, but not like physically show up live consistently.
Yeah.
Is because they're dealing with demons that other people don't see. But when you can coach yourself and you can stay in a positive emotional state, it's great sales training for anybody listening. 3 steps to closing a deal successfully, or they happen in this order. The first one has to do with your emotional state. Now, nobody trains this shit because they're all like, well, you know, you have to have whatever, use my script. And then, you know, it's bullshit. Doesn't matter. A script cannot change someone's energy.
Yeah.
So the first thing is your emotional state. If your emotional state is in a low place, then don't go on a sales call or answer the phone for that matter, unless you can get to a higher emotional state, because no one's going to buy from you in a low state. It's a low vibration.
Yeah,
sure. The second thing is the story that you tell yourself. So what's funny is they work bilaterally. So like in the middle, the thing that actually determines everything is the story you tell yourself. So when you're like, attaboy, good work, let's go do it again. Or if you're like, let's see how many no's I can get today, and you laugh it off, like how many no's will determine how many yeses. Meaning,
yeah,
if they say no, the next one's going to be a yes. Like you counterbalance it by saying like, hey, if that happens, I know the next one's going to be better. The story that you tell yourself determines the sale, which is 3.
Yeah.
So state, story, sell. So people are going like, why am I not getting more sales? Well, use my templates. And if you use my templates, if you say exactly what I say, nope, number one thing that sells on the planet is energy, which is conviction.
Well, I know that to be true because I'll train guys, especially in the window cleaning space, on Facebook ads.
Oh, yeah.
The biggest struggle is not setting up the ads. That's literally, you just need to know what buttons to press.
Right.
Where people struggle, they'll be like, and this literally happened last night. I had a guy who I was coaching and he had ads running and they weren't performing. And I'm already like, let me see your video. And in my mind, I'm like, bro, you look like you just walked out of prison. You're not smile. You didn't smile at all. Your face never changed. And you have zero energy.
Yeah.
I don't want you in my house, let alone if you're not enticing me to get my windows clean.
Right.
So it's like, bro, you're going to redo this. You have to have some like manners and move your hands, be eccentric, like have some energy, some just like, yeah, you just need to be excited. It's a window cleaning. Yeah. You got to get excited. And I was like, then send me some B-roll footage of you cleaning windows. Like, well, I can fix this in like 5 seconds. And it took 5 minutes. I edited his video for him. I put some B-roll footage on it. He sounded great. He looked way better. we watched his ad, and Hip Colby and I were hanging out last night, and on 2 occasions, within an hour, he's like, I got another lead. I got another lead. I got another lead. It's all energy.
Yep, it is.
You're saying it. The offer didn't change.
Right. The name of the transcript probably haven't changed. Yeah, for what he's saying, the offer, just how it's presented, I mean, makes such a huge difference. Your emotional state determines the story that you tell yourself with the determine this out. If his emotional state is, woe is me, Eeyore,
Yeah.
that is like the worst possible thing ever.
Yeah.
You have to be in a state of where you're like, okay, this is hard, but I'm going to win. Like you have to have that bend. You have to have that thing. And if you don't, like, you can't expect anything else to change. So it's true for the leads process, true for the selling process, true for everything.
Yeah.
So like, okay, don't solve the sell. The sell will solve itself if you can, you get your emotional state, your vibration up.
Yeah.
That's why in people talking about vibration and frequency, they're like, this woo-woo bullshit.
Yeah.
A lot easier to say, like, your energy sucks.
Yeah.
Like, can you look alive? Can you act alive?
Yeah.
Can you, like, smile? Can you be happy? What the fuck's going on in your life that's so bad?
Yeah.
Like, I can shift someone's perspective so quick and just be like, oh, you think you have it bad? Okay, let me tell you a couple stories.
Yeah.
But for real, that's what's great. Whether in the business or in life or in marriage or in whatever, it's just like, that's a big part of what I do is like just shifting those states because that determines the story. Okay, it's not as bad as I thought it was. How much was your growth your first month?
Oh, do you remember that basis? Yeah, we were 528% year, like
For Mother's Month, run the previous year.
Yeah.
So 535% by setting intention, having positive influences of people around you, by telling yourself a different story, and by just doing the work.
Yeah.
Went from 0 to 100 leads. I mean, it's not complicated. Business is actually really, really not complicated. We as people can make it complicated.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, when I shifted some of my business, I was like, I don't know, I'm just going to do whatever I think is right. You know what my blueprint was for this year? Go serve the people that God puts in front of you.
Yeah.
It's the most fun, most fulfilling, most sustainable year of business I've ever done.
Yeah.
So far, we're doing pretty good. So like, I'm like, okay, this is great. This is exactly as it should be. So I'm curious to see in life how many things are like self-fulfilling prophecies.
Yeah.
Based on our state, based on the story that we tell ourselves, based on you want old me, poor as me. Okay, I just could just mirror that straight back to you so fast.
Yeah.
You want like, I'm an overcomer, I'm going to get through this, I'm going to be resilient, and I'm going to tell myself a better story, and I'm going to do the hard things.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah. Because, well, literally no one else is going to.
yeah. The bar's very low. We have the bar very low.
Yeah.
Very low.
Yeah. Let's go. That's all that I got. I was about to ask you the same thing. Oh, good. Cool. Well, I'll leave this on you, Dick. I don't know if you have any other notes, man. This has been amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on in the first place. Of course, thank you again for your hospitality, for having us here.
Of course, dude. Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know if you have any other closing notes, man. A lot of the guys that listen to this are brand new to, like, they're thinking, right now they're thinking about going and, like, knocking at first door, for example.
Yeah.
That's a lot of the people that are listening to this. And there's a lot of other people that are listening to this that are in Dave's position or that are more like me, that are like kind of bucket bobs that had been stuck in the Trump for a while. That's not Dave. That's bucket bobs. Love it. And they want to grow a successful, profitable business over the long term, but they don't know how. And so, anyways, just giving that context, I don't know if you have any other notes in closing, but
Yeah, man. I think there's one thing I'd like to tell people at the end of every podcast. So as long as I'm asked that question, which thank you for asking it, because not everybody does. And this is the opportunity for me to say this. I think if you want to change your life dramatically for the better, encourage 5 people a day. That sounds crazy.
yeah.
But I was telling you a story earlier about after COVID, I lost $1 million of recurring revenue in GIs. I remember being like, I have absolutely no idea how I'm going to solve this issue, but God, this is your problem. And I'm going to trust that you're going to figure it out. So for me, I'm just like, yeah, well, God, this is I remember my wife, I remember vividly where I was standing in her house. And I told her, and I was like, but you know what? This is God's problem. You got to solve it. I just walked away. I'm like, go back to work. Because I'm not taking this on. I called one of my mentors, which I have 5, by the way. So for these guys who are listening, like, you got to get people in your life who see you, appreciate you, and will listen to you like on a consistent, regular basis. That's a huge thing. But I called one of my mentors, Chomi, and I said, hey man, we had like a $20 million year business at that time, for around 170 million now. Straight track record of doing the right thing. All of a sudden, things hit. And I said, I had no idea what to do. I lost $1 million in recurring revenue. Don't know how to pay mortgage, kids' school, where. And that's what he told me to do. He said, well, right now, I wish I had better advice, that was more practical, but just go encourage 5 people a day. And I literally was on, you've got to be fucking kidding me. Like, you have to be kidding. Like, are you serious? And I started laughing, like, are you serious? He's like, yeah. And I was like, okay. So, like, on texting? Like, what do you mean? He's like, yeah, just, I don't know, go on Facebook, go on Instagram, go on your phone, and just pick anybody. Just go encourage 5 people a day. And I was like, okay, thanks. Buddy. I'm going to figure that out. He was like, literally, we're options. What does that always come back to? Personal integrity and character. Personal development. Are you willing to do the reps? Are you willing to do the thing that doesn't look sexy? Whatever. Dude, for the next 35 days, I encourage 5 people every single day. And I get on Instagram and just hit someone I haven't talked to in 10 years with a voice message that says, hey, I've been watching from afar. Like, I just want you to know you're doing better than you think you are. Like, keep going, keep doing, whatever you're doing. I just would find a way to encourage people.
Yeah.
35 days later, I closed almost $405,000 in deals and coaching in a week. $400,000. I've never had a $400,000 week since then. So the wild thing was, with no strategy, with the world with their heads up their ass post-COVID, of going like, I don't even know how. This was in between basically like the end of April and May. I didn't even have a coaching program. Just go encourage 5 people a day. What's so wild is none of the people going encourage bought. None of them. My content changed. My contribution to people changed. My expectations changed. I changed. So all that was a reversal, because the people who did end up coming in, it's just the way I presented was different. The way that I wanted to work with them, it was for the right reasons. It was based off of the right ideas and principles. So if anybody wants to find themselves in a better position in life or in their work, just go encourage 5 people a day. I promise you, it'll change your life for the better. I didn't have any expectations, because there was no, I felt hopeless, to be honest with you. Yeah. I was like, let's just detach from. I didn't expect anything people I encouraged by. I didn't expect my life to change. I just was like, well, someone tell me what to do, because I don't know what to do, and I did it. And it changed everything. So that's my encouragement for the people who are listening. Those are my parting words of wisdom. If you don't know what to do, go encourage 5 people a day and watch how much it shifts your life, because it will change everything. Yeah, that's the habit thing.
Well, you've certainly encouraged Dave and I on this call. So hopefully at least 3 people listen to this podcast. And then you've gotten your reps in for the day. So sure, continues to get the bell lost.
That's great, man. Thank you. Thanks for having me, buddy.
Yeah, thanks to you guys for being on, man. This is Bear Play for Profit. We'll see you in the next one.